It's Wolves 2, Liverpool 1. Raúl Jimenez opened the scoring for Wolves. Divock Origi equalised 6 minutes after the break with a pile-driver left-footed shot from the edge of the Wolves area. But Ruben Neves, with a fantastic shot from distance, had dip on it. It had a bit of swerve and it confused the hell out of Simon Mignolet, who did nothing to save it. 2-1 Wolves. And as things stand, it is Wolves' name who will be in the draw for the fourth round, which is made after tonight's game. A couple of pieces of transfer news knocking around tonight as well. Celtic have signed Timothy Weah, son of George, on loan from Paris Saint-Germain. The 18-year-old already has 8 caps for the United States, while it's 1 in and 1 out for Irish defenders at Hearts today. Under 21 international Jimmy Dunn has returned to parent club Burnley following a 6-month spell at Tynecastle. Replacing Dunn in Edinburgh is Conor Shaughnessy, who has joined Hearts on loan until the end of the season from Leeds, having found opportunities limited under Marcelo Bielsa. A couple of rugby lines as well tonight. Jonathan Sexton's rated as 50-50 for Leinster's Heineken Champions Cup meeting with Toulouse on Saturday. The out-half suffered a lower leg injury in the recent Pro 14 defeat away to Munster. Devin Toner has an ankle problem and is another doubt for the game at the RDS. Robbie Henshaw did return to training today, but that game on Saturday is just ahead of schedule for him. Chris Farrell, once again a doubt for the start of Ireland's Six Nations campaign. The centre will have scans on a knee problem this week and is almost certainly out of Friday night's Champions Cup trip to Gloucester. Farrell had only recently returned from a lengthy absence due to a ligament injury. Chris Clute is back in full training following a neck problem, and John Ryan has also been cleared after coming through a HIA. Problems for Peter O'Mahony and Dan Goggin should both clear up as the week progresses, Joe.
Richie, lovely stuff. Thanks for that. Kev, you like that goal?
Oh, it's a brilliant goal. Richie said it's pretty much his trademark last season. He scored 6 goals last year in the Championship, and definitely everyone from open play was certainly outside the penalty area. He scored a penalty this year. That's his 2nd goal of the season, but again, 25-yard. He's got some strike on him, Ruben Neves. I like him as a player. I think he's great from set pieces, but the way he dictates play as well, he's still only a young man, heavily linked with Liverpool and a couple of other clubs as well, so it's this will do his reputation no harm at all.
Can I ask the most indulgent question of my life?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So this is genuinely very indulgent. So it's just occurred to me now, and this is not something I really should do on air, and I suspect this is going to be played back to me in a montage and haunt me.
Go on.
But I'm going to put myself out there.
You can embarrass yourself here.
Okay. So on occasion I played football, and when I hit a shot from
Senior League.
When I hit a shot from outside the box, it looked to me like the ball was moving incredibly slowly to the far corner, you know? Like I just thought it's taking an age to reach the goal.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just wondering if that was my angle. As in I could see what was going to happen so early on that, the ball didn't seem to be travelling at great speed to me, even if I thought I hit it okay.
Right.
So I'm wondering, have you hit a shot from outside the area and you thought there wasn't much pace on that, but then when you watched it back on TV, you thought, oh, it was actually moving through the air quite well?
Oh my God. Are we on air talking about this? What the hell are you on about?
Right, we'll move on. Pat Nevin, Happy New Year.
And happy to you too, Joe, and to you, Kevin.
Hello, Patrick. All good?
Very well. You didn't hear any of the last 30 seconds.
Did you hear that question, Joe? Pat, you just asked me.
I'm just going to dig him out of a hole there.
Please do.
Right, I think what you're talking about is when you hit it and you don't feel it. It just comes off so smoothly, and it's a clean hit. It's like that golf shot you hit where you don't feel anything and it goes 200 yards. It's just timing.
Yeah.
You've hit something timed well. It feels like nothing, but it's clean and it's pure. And all those slimy left footers do it all the time, and all us right footers struggle to do it that often. So that's.
Do you know what, Pat?
That wasn't my issue. To be
in
fair.
Joe's defence here, Joe is the face of rugby over here now, but he's actually a very good footballer. He can actually play a little bit. He can play.
That was not the reason I brought that up. I was just genuinely curious if when you hit a ball, it actually was travelling faster than you might have thought when you hit it. Not because you hit it sweetly and didn't feel it, but actually just because your angle, you could see it going in all the way and you were probably willing it to go a bit faster.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, okay.
No,
fine.
I haven't said no, I didn't, but obviously, yeah.
I've taken us down a difficult route right from the off.
I did my best there. I did my best.
I know you did. No, I know you gave me an out there, but I have to be honest and say that's not what I meant. I did mean something other than that. But anyway, we'll move on. Did you score many from outside the box, Pat?
The vast majority were inside the box, but yeah, a few outside the box. I probably scored more headers than I scored shots from outside the box.
Just arriving across your fullback and getting into a good area.
Always, yeah. But all totally different. Oddly enough, someone asked me recently, did I have a kind of montage of goals I'd scored? you could put online or something. I went, eh? No, not really. So I looked through some old stuff, and they're just completely and utterly different. None of them seem to be particularly the same. So I hadn't got a special type of goal, just, whatever happened,
Pat, did I remember you scoring a few chips in your time as well?
I will own up to the scoop. If it was anything,
that
the
was
scoop
the one.
was
It was a scoop, yeah.
Yeah, so 1-on-1 with the keepers of that, you just, not a chip, a scoop. I'm trying to think, who was the player who did it for Manchester United? It was, I was a great player.
Poborski.
Yeah, a few years after I'd done it against Manchester United, he done it for Man United. But
no, he did it in the Euros. He did it for the Czech Republic in Euro '96.
Exactly. There was a few that have done that one. I don't know why people don't do it more often, although I have got one suggestion. At training, I always used to get 1-on-1s with Neville Southall when I was at Everton. And the only way to beat Neville was to scoop him, because it's impossible to stop it. He goes about 15 feet in the air. Problem was, Neville would then chase you all the way out of Belfield and try and beat you up, because he hated getting beat and he knew there's nothing he could do about that one. So I stopped doing it in training and just done it in games.
Did we ever, by the way, have any theories as to why lefties struck the ball so well, Pat?
Oh, I've asked. Tennis players are kind of similar. They all seem to have a kind of smoothness about it. And of course, we'd say that they all hit the ball smoothly, but of course, none of them can kick the ball with the right foot at all. They're absolutely useless. So what the Lord giveth away, He takes with something else.
It is true. You don't see many lefties with the right foot.
I don't know. We have the argument with Dave McIntyre. Dave's like, how can a professional footballer not kick the ball with his bad foot? It's like, I don't know, Dave, but yeah. I remember even when you were doing the little shooting drills and you get little one played to your right foot, it was almost if you're trying to wind your body up in a certain way to have. The only one I used to have was maybe just try and curl it, just try and
swinger,
just whip your foot round it, and that was it. I'd have a decent enough strike on my left, but on my right, nothing.
No good.
Nothing.
So, Pat, this is the first time, obviously, you've been on in the new year, and there's just a ton of stuff which has happened. We were remarking earlier on in the show that it is strange. You've Christmas, and it feels like Match of the Day is on every day, and you lose track of what games are on when, and suddenly you emerge, and Manchester City have this game to keep the league alive against Liverpool on Thursday. It was amazing how it all happened. I missed all the Manchester City losses with one thing and another. So we want to talk about that. There's Solskjær at Manchester United, which is very interesting. There's goings on at Chelsea between buying and selling young players, which I'm sure people would like your opinions on. Before all that, just very briefly, because I appreciate this conversation can become tiresome. The FA Cup third round generally provokes much navel-gazing amongst FA Cup lovers. So I don't know where it really is at the moment or how you feel about it. The general sense, if I was to sum it up at the moment in 2018-19, is that the big clubs don't really care too much about it. However, they're so rich and their squads are so deep, they can sort of muddle their way through to a semi-final or final anyway and then put out their best team. And that's kind of where we are, it feels, at the moment. Yeah,
that is where we are. Oddly, I'm okay with that. Gives the small teams a chance. If you're playing for the Barnletts of this world, etc., you think, well, at least I've got a chance to be a bigger team. You probably have no chance whatsoever if they put out the strongest team. And that's just the deal. You beat what's in front of you. Yes, they will always then, as they get to the latter stages, try and put out the strongest team, the big guns. But, if you say to Liverpool tonight, you must put your strongest team out, and they stick Virgil van Dijk out in that game, and he goes down the way Lovren does, and then they lose Champions League.
What a strike. Sorry, Pat. Shaqiri's just hit an unbelievable free kick. It's just to come off the post. What a free kick. Sorry, Pat.
Saved, though.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
Post, sorry.
But that's the kind of brilliant thing about it. You can bring Shaqiri in, and he can do something special, although I'm not sure that Origi at the start of the game, alongside Sturridge, looked as if they could care less. But that's not a problem. I think that's fine. That's all okay. But if you're Liverpool and you, as I say, you stick Van Dijk on that pitch and he goes down injured after 3 minutes, you'll probably lose the league, and you'll probably lose Champions League opportunities as well. And it's not sensible to do it.
As you speak, they're bringing on Mo Salah with 20 minutes to go to try and rescue this game. So clearly they do want to give it a bit of a go. Yeah. Do you feel the FA Cup needs rescuing, an incentive of some kind, or will we just let it drift and see where it ends up in 10, 15, 20 years?
kind of where it's ended up is where it's been for a little while. I think it has drifted to where it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's changed a great deal in the last couple of years.
Yeah, true.
I don't think it's a particularly bad place.
I think, Pat, I mean, we look at it again across the weekend. The big stories this weekend are the shocks. We spoke about Newport, spoke about Oldham coming back against Fulham away from home. Pat's touched on Barnet there. They become the stories of the round, don't they? And that's probably the way it has always been to an extent, the third round. It's that little giant killing one that comes in. I think the big clubs will get to the semis, quarterfinals, and one of the bigger clubs should win it again this year. That's the way it always is.
To be fair, I'd probably agree with you, but it's kind of stabilised over the last couple of years. It doesn't feel like it's declined massively in the last 5 or 6 years. We've reached the kind of standard FA Cup season now. It feels
I revert back to myself though, John. And again, I know it's not as if you're obviously you followed Premier League football your whole life, but I started out in Preston in the old Division 3 as it was, League 2 as it is now, and if you could get a third round tie, it meant everything to the town. It meant everything to the club. And now there's so much more money in it for the club. There's so much more cash incentive. If you look at what Oldham did yesterday, it's paying wages and things like this. So it was such a big thing. And I even remember growing up watching Preston as a kid, waiting for a third round tie. They only came around. I only remember Sheffield Wednesday, a big FA Cup tie. John Sheridan was playing, I think, that there. Trevor Francis. They were the only ties that I remember as a kid. So they were the big ones. And a club like Preston, I know they're a championship club now, and many other clubs, Oldham, you could go through the whole league and you could name any clubs. They were the big ones. So it does mean a lot more to the lower league
look,
clubs.
I appreciate the lower clubs. Pat, I've no issue with the Liverpools in their predicament. Well, it's not a predicament, in their position arresting the big players. I suppose it's more the Leicesters of the world, given that they're 7th in the league. And are they not a perfect team who can beat anyone on their day and therefore should try and win an FA Cup with this still relatively talented squad? And yet they rest Jamie Vardy and one or two others. I know it was a reasonably strong
so
side.
Many changes, so many changes.
But that middle tier could actually go on a great journey, and their Premier League status is fine regardless.
The middle tier is quite limited, isn't it? There's only 4 or 5, maybe 6 teams that are middle tier, i.e. you ain't going to get into the top 5 and you ain't going to get relegated either. They're actually quite small. And even the ones that are doing really fairly well up there, they don't want to go on a long bad run and get dragged into anything. And also remember how much you get per position that you sort of finish up in the league is a lot of money as well. So they take that into account. Managers think of it in different ways. The managers make the decisions, right? And their decision has to be what's best for A, the club, B, me. I.e., I don't want to go on a bad run because my striker's injured in the league and end up 3 positions below where I was last season, and then I get a hoof. And that's how they think of it. They don't think of it in the kind of wider glory ways that other people do. They're kind of like much more business-like in the way they do it. But the vast majority of them, it's easy if you're up the top, if you're Jurgen Klopp and you're Pep and all that, you can say all the nice things. But if you're in that hard work area in the middle, I don't think the managers can, because it's such a precarious job.
No, it's true. Antonio Conte and Louis van Gaal would testify that it doesn't guarantee you much. So FA Cup meanders on. Man City Liverpool then on Thursday. I mean, it was amazing to emerge from Christmas and have this game. Suddenly, they thought that suddenly Liverpool were going 10 points clear, and we were saying earlier on, you go from when Van Dijk skied that effort against Everton when we basically were on the point of handing Man City the title. So, talk to us about this game. Did you rate it as highly as a lot of us seemed to?
I thought it was technically an interesting game. I thought it was very, very tense. I have seen a lot more exciting games in my life, to be honest, but it's just because of the occasion, the moment, and what it meant, and the imperative that, for the league to keep on going, Manchester City had to win it. And the fact that Man City did do a number of things that were different. I thought the tactics of the game were really quite intriguing. The fact that Liverpool asked their 2 attack-minded fullbacks just to sit for the first 45 minutes. Whereas, you look at the attitude of the Manchester City midfield, both Silvers were throwing in tackles everywhere, and you're thinking, we're in a different alternate universe here where everything's just wrong. I love the fact that, Liverpool, just thought, well, we can play one way and then we'll adapt it for the second half. But I also love the fact that it didn't work, because the Liverpool that I like to watch is the Liverpool. It's the devil may care, have a go, we'll score more goals than you. Well, they didn't do that for 45 minutes. They were cleverer than that, but that cleverness didn't actually work for them. I think the right team won, on the night, purely because of, I think from start to finish, Manchester City, even though they had the 2, more defensive-ish fullbacks on there. I think that was from necessity most of the time because Walker hadn't been doing so well recently. I just think they had a more positive attitude from the start.
And when Liverpool made that change in midfield and went to a 4, they scored the goal shortly afterwards, and there was a sense that they were more in the game. Is that because the shape just suited the game better, or is that because of personnel?
Isn't it gorgeous that we can all look at it a different way? My thoughts was at half-time he says to his 2 full-backs, right, go. Just go and play your game. Yeah. So who creates the goal? It's the left-back. And I was talking about it at half-time, saying, look, I can't believe you're asking Robertson to sit. Yeah. I mean, he's all right. He's not bad as a left full-back. He's unbelievable as an attacking left full-back. A few minutes into the second half, he's the one that's getting down that line. To be honest, I also thought, excuse me, they knew where the weakness was. And the Liverpool, they knew where the weaknesses were in Man City. And I certainly thought Manchester City knew where the weaknesses were in Liverpool. You look at Man City, they overloaded on the left-hand side time and time and time again. Sane had a good game. But if you look at it, Bernardo Silva and David Silva were flying to that left-hand side. And you look, both of the goals came from that left-hand side, for them attacking the left-hand side. They weren't coming down the side that Robertson was and Van Dijk were. So there was layer upon layer. See, when we talk about technically it was a good game, and fans go, oh, for goodness sake, shut up, don't be a bore. That sort of thing, where managers are doing really clever things. That's what was most impressive about it. And it could be read in a number of levels. Yeah.
I absolutely appreciate your point about maybe not being terribly exciting in some ways, and if it lacked anything, it was maybe goal-mouth action. However, Kev, in some respects, one of the more interesting things was that we have these two teams and they're fitter than ever, and they're frantic and working unbelievably hard and closing down together as a unit. And so it's got almost this old school British quality of pressure and hard work and rolling up your sleeves. But you've got this technical aspect that Pat's talking about thrown in. And honestly, there were moments where the back four on both sides were all like the courage to play football under. They were almost outnumbered at times. You had almost last men flicking balls over forwards and running around them to try and keep the ball. I just thought there were so many moments where I thought this is unbelievably courageous football. You're right, risky passing into midfield. The pace on the passing is something that's really gone on to the next level over the last couple of seasons. The way that we're seeing Kevin De Bruyne pass a ball, the way that we're seeing Liverpool's fullbacks passing the ball, the way that we're seeing whoever it would be on the pitch, the top sides now, that's what makes the game a lot more entertaining. It adds to more mistakes because someone might have a loose touch when that ball's fizzed into them, a lad's able to step in and take it off, and then you got an attack, quick transition. But I like that element of it. I like the pace of the game, that there was an element of mistakes at times, but the mistakes were being capitalised and it was a quick counter against it. You could argue the mistakes were forced errors as opposed to unforced. Most definitely. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the rivalry within that game. Bit of a throwback to me to a United Arsenal, that from something that Pat's touching about there. That it was nervy, it was slightly edgy. Nobody wanted to give that little yard or that little bit of space to somebody else, just so you knew full well that they could hurt each other badly because of the talent that was on the pitch. I did half wonder, Pat, if that is maybe the next frontier for English football. You've got the teams will only get fitter and be able to press more and more and more and more, and then you've got the dousing of technical ability thrown in on top, and maybe you get more games like that over the next 10 years. I don't know. No, I've always thought that football's kind of, everyone thinks it's an upward trajectory. I don't kind of see that. I've went through periods where I thought it was being power plays. I remember the very early days of the Premier League. I thought it stunk. I hated it. Just a lot of power plays and the odd talented foreign player playing. I couldn't be bothered with it. It didn't interest me really. And then it got more technical, and then other technical things happened, and then the power players have to come in again, and then it's a lot more about pure speed. But you're right. As soon as one area gets really, really strong, then it loses its like Barcelona got absolutely brilliant with these little guys that are ping, 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 ping. Well, that's fine. But eventually you'll get power players that will be able to sort of overrun them in certain situations. It's fair enough them having the ball for 75-80% of the game. But if you've got 8 guys that are 6'3" and you get a couple of corners, you'll probably score. So you have to get some sort of balance in it. And I think it's adapting the balances, but I do take your point, and I agree with it, about an Englishness about that game that I didn't expect from them. Those brave balls at the start. But see, with 10-15 minutes ago, I've never seen Company hoof the ball so many times in my life.
And I'm thinking, good on you, mate. You just needed that at that point in time. I don't know if you also know one bit that really got me, and it's maybe Aguero's not the best person to talk about, but he was making a huge amount of runs off the ball, the sort of thing you don't see in the telly all the time, but he ran himself into the ground. And see, we have about 3 minutes to go. If you ever get a chance to see it going, he chases down a ball, he doesn't get it, he chases wide, and then he stops and he tries to start again, and he can't. He just can't move. He just stops. He can't. You'd almost think he's actually never ran that hard in his life.
Yeah.
So it's impressive that you're actually getting that Englishness, actually getting into, or Britishness, maybe whatever you call it, going on to those players who are real technical players as well. And if you add both those things together, then that'll be brilliant to watch.
I just going back to the original point about the FA Cup and things like this, Joe, as well. It's maybe going off it a bit, but I think it shows the quality in both City and Liverpool sides and the gulf between it. City played a weakened side to an extent yesterday, yet you're bringing De Bruyne in, you're bringing talent. Look at Liverpool's squad here tonight. They're not playing the same type of football because they simply can't. Whereas City, whichever of the 24 or whatever, 25 players that's going to go in, they know exactly what to do. They can play the same way. They've got the same amount of ability. Liverpool's second string is not of the level that the first 11 would be, or the first 14 would be.
No, it's true. I think it was Rotherham they beat, wasn't it?
Rotherham, yeah.
Yeah, I think their manager said that Man City's slowest player today was quicker than our quickest player.
It could have been 4 up in 10 minutes. Really could have been.
Kind of an interesting one, Pat, then. So, do you think over the next kind of 5-10 years that the next batch of managers, is it increased fitness that is going to change the game the most, and actually the tactics that you can implement, given that you've got fitter and faster players who can do more things, even just in terms of the ground they're covering? Or will it be increased technical ability which will change what we're seeing?
I think you're talking about Manchester City there. Yeah, they're quick, but they're all good technically. I'm not too sure the technical abilities are that massively above what they've been in the past. It's just that they're all here. It's just a lot of them are all in the top few clubs in England, and they're all kind of stuck in the same sort of place. I watched the technical abilities of the players mid to lower in the Premier League, and I don't think there's a massive change there, to be honest, in the last 15, 20 years. I see, a bit more power. There's physical, they've been taken care of physically. Sometimes they even get more rest because of bigger squads. But purely as technical players, no, not really. But the top teams, yeah. But that's mostly because you look at them. That's some of the best players in the world all stuck together.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to throw the net a lot wider. So that's it. If I would go back to one thing, English players specifically, I think they're slowly but surely becoming technically better. I think this last little group that's coming through of youngsters, I see a lot of them obviously come through the Chelsea Academy, but you look at the young English teams. Now, I've watched English teams, I've been involved with Scotland, we've won European Championships at under 18s and stuff like that, and it has had no effect long term. But I watched this group coming through, and I think, actually, no, you're technically better. So it may well be that they will actually have more of a say going forward. And that's, pace is fine. They'll all have a decent amount of pace. They'll have to have it. But I think they're technically a wee bit better than I've seen coming through for a while.
Okay. A thought from both of you then, finally, as we leave Liverpool, Man City. So Liverpool are potentially here going to lose a second game in a row, and there'll be lots of headlines tomorrow. And obviously this game has to be set aside from the Premier League. It's funny, I was talking, my brother's a Liverpool fan, and he's kind of starting to wonder maybe this might actually happen, And we were talking after the City game, and he said, and I totally knew what he meant, he said, it didn't actually feel like we lost the game in some respects because the margins were so fine, and they showed they were just as good as City. It wasn't like they were outclassed, and I shared that sense too. And Klopp, you suspect, had that sense based on his post-match comments. I guess the question is, will that defeat to City have a destabilising effect on Liverpool, Pat?
Not that one. I don't think so.
Okay.
You go away to Manchester City, the hardest game of the season, where they need to win and you don't need to win. You like to win, but you don't need to win. And that is officially the hardest game you're going to get this season in the league. So, and you just, you're unlucky, but you go down 2-1. And you've also, in the end of it, still get that big gap. No, that's not the game that's going to kill them. If they lose another one after this, if they go to, is it Brighton?
Brighton,
weekend, and if they drop a couple of points there, that might have a little bit of a shake. That might start. And if City don't go on a run, You know, they scored obviously there's 7 goals there, but if they go in a run now with De Bruyne back, you know, and you think actually they could go and win every game between now and the end of the season.
Yeah.
They actually could.
I think Liverpool fans will be probably looking beyond that Brighton game as well. You look at the next 5 games: Brighton, Palace, Leicester, West Ham, Bournemouth, before they play Bayern Munich in the Champions League, and Man United then in the Premier League. There's 5 games where you're looking, you think they are all winnable. That's 15 points there. So without wanting to get, I think that Brighton game is that most important one now. Go down to Brighton, who do make it difficult. Chris Shuton will we know how he's going to play.
Yeah.
It'll be very difficult to break down that side. So concentrate on that one. If you get a result there, I think the rest, they've got 2 home games back-to-back, Palace and Leicester. I think they win those comfortably enough. Then you can think about those 5 games. But that Brighton game's key now, yeah.
Yeah, okay. There's still 2-1 down, 5 minutes to go. Pat, there's a good few more things I want to talk to you about. I can do that if you can hang on 2 minutes for an ad break. Do you mind?
I've got all the time in the world, man.
Okay, great. Back in a second. We'll talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjær in a second.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
Come down and get a sense of humor.
You Couldn't Make It Up is back. It's News Talk's irreverent and impertinent panel show where news and comedy collide. Each week, a host of funny folk will pull apart the stories making the headlines and reassemble them in a pair of surreal and downright silly performances, all in front of a live audience.
Go on, do the trick. Go on.
For free tickets to You Couldn't Make It Up's first show on Thursday, January 17th at Tramline in Dublin, just go to newstalk.com/events.
Don't go to the hospital just yet.
You Couldn't Make It Up
With Pat O'Mahony
in partnership with Tesco.
on News Talk.
Look and feel great for less this new year. At Louis Copeland, there's up to 50% off casual wear and suits. Let the Louis Copeland family look after your family. Shop in store or at louiscopeland.com.
Open space, the final frontier. These are the explorations of scientists, sociologists and AI technologists at Maynooth University. Our mission: to create autonomous drones, air traffic flight management, and seek out new solutions for our civilization. To boldly go where no drone has gone before. Experience knowledge set free at our CAO Information Evening, Wednesday, January 9th.
Maynooth University. No bounds.
So as they go over the chair at Aintree, it's Ruby Walsh in front. And now he's a length clear as they head into the dip with only 2 fences to run at Galway.
From Cork to York, Newbury to Tipperary, watch Racing TV for complete coverage of 61 British and Irish racecourses, live and now in dramatic HD. Watch free to view coverage throughout January on Sky and racingtv.com.
Oh, what a way to finish!
Racing TV, welcome to the new home of British and Irish racing.
Is your Volkswagen in need of a checkup? Trust an approved Volkswagen technician for peace of mind to help keep your Volkswagen a Volkswagen. Book a classic service online for just €169 at Volkswagen.ie with free 1 year's roadside assistance included. Terms and conditions apply.
Off the Ball. This is News Talk.
Now, welcome back. Myself and Kevin Kilbane here in studio. 88 minutes on the clock at Molineux. It is still Wolves 2, Liverpool 1. Firmino and Mo Salah on for the last 20 minutes. Liverpool trying to salvage this one. Pat, Ole Gunnar Solskjær. So far, I've realised some things are important in management. This is me talking, by the way, not Solskjær. But I'm boiling it down to say nice things about your players and the club and tell them to pass the ball forward and sit back and see what happens.
And massage a few egos, and make people feel comfortable. And maybe if you haven't done a huge amount of managing at the very, very top level, you look at some of those players and say, they're quite good. Why don't you go out and do what you're good at? You know, it's not what I want you to do. Do what you're good at, but do it in a positive sense. That's to take nothing away from Solskjær, because it's clear that he's made a difference in a couple of players. Lukaku's looks quite different now. Absolutely. He's running in a different way. His movement's in a different direction at the moment. I've heard him already talking about the fact that he's just been told to play with his head facing the goal. You know, it's almost like, I can remember a couple of years ago, I got one lesson, my only ever golfing lesson. And at the end of the lesson, he said, just one thing to tell you, mate. See, when you finish a shot, your buckle's facing the front. Changed my game completely. Sometimes that's all you need. That one little line. And it's just a little line out. He's obviously said to Lukaku, he's looked at him and thought, stop playing with your back to goal. Just go the other way, play on the shoulder. And he looks a different player and he's getting into better positions now.
It's amazing, really. It's certainly true in golf, seeing as you mentioned that, and it's probably true in football as well. It's actually, the genius is to come up with the one swing thought that is going to have a...
Get into the head.
But is the one that's going to provoke all the other nice things that will happen as a result. Like, you having your buckle facing the target means that your weight is moving forward, your shoulders are going a certain way. Like, a million other things are happening just by virtue of you thinking about your buckle. And I guess it's the same with Lukaku. Like, it's hard to distill forward play down to a phrase, but maybe he has just said play more facing the goal and then 20 other things happen. I
have told you one before, another one. Your own John Aldridge telling me this.
Oh, yeah. Get to an area.
Just go where the defenders aren't. That's it. Nothing more. 19 goals later. Best season I'd ever had for scoring goals. And that is, get an idea into your head. And sometimes, you can actually fill it with lots and lots of over complex things. I mean, Gordon Strachan was one person I always used to say, the hell of a simple game made really, really complicated by stupid people. And after you work out what that sentence means, it makes a bit of sense. And you're right. And I think if he is as clever as he's probably hiding, the cleverest people I've ever met are much more clever than they pretend to be. And if he is that, and he's looking at various ones and saying, right, that's what he needs, Pogba, all you need to be told is, go and do it, mate, which clearly he has been told to do. And suddenly he's got a smile on the face, he's run, his gait is completely different. He's not told him to change all that. He's getting his head up more, he's not told him to change that. He's running more, he's not told him that. All he's said is, go out and enjoy your game and do what you're good at. And as you say, Kevin, everything else seems to follow from it. It's finding that one bon mot, the right thing to say at the right time.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting because Solskjær made a point, Kevin, the first game, was saying, well, I've just told him to pass the ball forward more. And I mean, I know it's more complicated than that, of course, but it's very apparent if you watch Manchester United regularly, they were all looking to pass the ball forward more, and maybe as a result, players were more willing to run beyond the ball, knowing that's where it was going.
I don't think you'd ever see Man United. I'm not saying it's not happened, but I would say the first thought as the ball's coming in from a fullback, little spin round the corner into the striker's feet. It's what the strikers love. The strikers, they'll scream at midfield players. It's something that you would regularly have seen. Man United fans would have seen the pass from Roy Keane. Roy Keane immediately, Paul Scholes, spin round the corner, follow your path. Little things like that. We talk about patterns on the pitch. As it's coming in, to have that picture, you're spinning it into the striker's feet. It gives a striker more time on the ball. Striker's quite happy that he's got a runner coming in from a wide area. It's coming across the face of him, or even the second midfielder that's going beyond to take it off the face of the centre forward as well. Little things like this, whereas that's what you see now. I've not seen it from Matic this season. I've not, or for a good while. I've not seen it from even Pogba. Far too many touches on the ball. How many times have we said that when we've been in here? Too many touches. Whereas it might be 1 and 2 touch now that we're seeing from them. 1 touch at your feet, fire it in, or even first time if the weight's right on the pass. That's what you're seeing more from United now.
Is that a Ferguson thing, Pat? I know you haven't worked under a huge amount, or maybe you've heard bits and bobs about him. That simple 3 to 4 line sentence which can transform a player's game. Did Ferguson have that knack? Was that his style at all?
The few times I was in squads with him, the Scotland squad, certainly a couple of times I played, he was very, very simple and direct and gave you an instruction. When you were on the pitch, this is what I would like you to do. And it's very clear. I don't know. You're going to get by that guy. You're going to get the byline, and I'll probably count how many times you get to the byline. And you're thinking, right, I need to figure out 100 ways to do that, but I'll figure it out and I'll get there. And it was a real kind of, yes, I know what I need to do, but also, yeah, but I know you trust me to do it. And so it was a kind of, you almost got both from that. There's more than one way to do that. You can do that through drills. We've all done them drills before. It looks to me like they've been doing that drill where, Kevin, you'll remember it many, many times. If you play a ball in a 7-a-side game, but if you don't move after playing it, it's a foul against you. So you have to play a ball then move, and if you don't move, foul against you. But there's all sorts of versions of that. In the Barcelona one, where they used to, if you didn't play a forward pass in the little game you were playing, and the forward pass was on, you lose possession. It's a bit like that. Within 2 passes, play it forward. And they might have just been doing quite a lot of that, and just getting it into the heads, getting it into the muscle memory. and then being told afterwards, right, pass it forwards, add them two things together. And that's exactly the sort of thing that Ferguson and the great managers have always done.
Yeah.
That things that are kind of allow you to do what you do, but also give you a goal and how to do it. And keeping it simple, it kind of helps with footballers, and that's including myself, has to be said.
Because it's in Ferguson's first autobiography, the one in '99, the treble year one. It's just one of these great little pieces of advice that stuck in my head, and it ties in with almost the simplicity. When Ferguson was playing professionally in Scotland and was going through a bad patch as a striker, his dad gave him the advice: the next time you're in on goal, kick the ball as hard as you can, because either then it will look like the keeper's made a great save, or you'll score the goal. And it's just this, it's very simple. And Ferguson said, it calmed him right down the next time he was in on goal. And you can imagine Ferguson saying this to Ole Gunnar Solskjær 15, 20, 30 years later. Just these simple little pearls, these things the players take on board. So Spurs is going to be a very different game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, I think, without a doubt it's going to be. And I was at Goodison Park, was it just before Christmas, or was it just after Christmas, when Tottenham just took Everton apart, and I'm thinking, right, this could be a serious challenge on. They could seriously push these top two up now, and then they go and blow it against Wolves, wasn't it, when they got beat against Wolves? And I didn't see that coming from anywhere, but the level that they're playing at now, that front four, I think they're as good as anything in the Premier League, or as anything that's around in European football. Son, Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen, Harry Kane, that four, and then you're throwing in a Lucas Moura, one of these lads that can come in and make an impact off the bench, and one or two others. Tottenham need to keep those four fit, and I think if they do that, but I think they'll beat United. On current form, I think United, come into it, brilliant that they've won the 5 games, but the level of performance on the pitch is not what Tottenham are at, no, I don't think so.
Because, attack and enjoy yourselves doesn't feel quite sophisticated enough for Spurs, Pat.
I've loved watching them as a team, but they've got a couple of particular difficulties coming up. They've got Chelsea tomorrow night in the Carabao Cup. They can't take it completely seriously, but it's Chelsea and it's a semi-final, and Pochettino hasn't won anything yet, so they kind of have to. So that's going to be Chelsea will be well up for that. So that's going to be a tough game, and it's over 2 legs. So they have to fit both of those games in the rest of January, which is going to push them a little bit. They've got the Man United game. The other games they've got, it's Fulham. They should be able to do that, but remember it's a London derby. And then at Watford. So they're actually not, they're kind of not easy games. They're all winnable for Spurs, but they are getting crushed now with games. And I think with this Carabao Cup, it's just probably 2 games they could have really done without.
Yeah.
That on top of that, so they play Chelsea, then they have Manchester United afterwards. If it had been at United, I would have been very worried about them in this game. The way United are playing just now, they've probably just, as Kev says, got enough to get by in this one. But each time they've went on a great run, there's been a huge faltering.
Yeah.
The Arsenal game, in the Wolves game, you think, well, wait a minute, you look phenomenal. You don't see that for the very best teams from here on in. And to get back to Alex Ferguson, remember he always used to say, right, get the Christmas, New Year out of the way, and then the season starts. For Spurs, they've been running at full tilt just to keep in touch. And I think, looking at Man City and Liverpool, I think the season starts now for them. Yeah.
We do want to get your thoughts on what's going on at Chelsea then. It's very interesting. So £60 million sterling, give or take, depending on pre-Brexit and post-Brexit. But Christian Pulisic has been signed, 20 years of age, from Dortmund. He's broken all sorts of Bundesliga records, youngest player to score, 2 goals in a game, etc. First team opportunities limited this season. Sancho seems to have taken his place. So Chelsea buying him, and it seems, considering, although they may be saying they're not anymore, but considering an offer for Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's 18 years of age, Bayern Munich willing to pay 30 million for him. They play in similar positions. Kev, I remember, was it last year you watched England, Argentina underage and came into the office? I don't know if you said it on air, but to be fair to you,
I did.
You said Hudson-Odoi, I think you said he has everything.
Yeah, well, Pat just touched on it earlier on about the talent that's within the English youth structure. And they played Argentina that day. Technically, they were so far. McEachran is another one that plays at Chelsea that Pat would know of as well. Sancho's from that side, Foden, Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi, physically he has it. Technically, he has it. And I saw a player there that I would just, you think, wow. I saw Sancho playing in that youth side with Foden, and Brahim Diaz has just gone to Real Madrid today for 18 million. Unbelievably talented. I mean, incredibly talented footballer. And seeing the way that he just took apart Nottingham Forest at the weekend as well, something that I wanted to touch on to Pat there as well, to say, well, where does he go? Why sign Pulisic for 60 million or Pulisic for 60 million when you've got Hudson-Odoi, who's as good, if not better? He's on the level of Sancho. They've come through the system together. So why on earth is he going to sit around? What's in his mind think? I'm going to go and sit around at Chelsea when I'm just not going to get a game here. What's the point?
I have to say, Pat, if I was a young talented player, it would be the last place on earth I would go near Chelsea. So this is a strange interaction, or isn't it?
Yes, from one angle, but from another angle, what age is Willian? 30, 31 now. You know how much time he got left? 2 to 3 years. Those players are 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
They're just growing into their best time, exactly the same position. Chelsea like to have two players in that sort of position. I don't know if you've seen a great deal of Pulisic. You're going to love watching him.
Right, I haven't seen much of him, no.
You're going to like watching him. He is lightning quick, beautiful skills. Some of them are just outrageous, kind of, oh, you can't do that. Somebody's going to kick you if you do that kind of skills. But it's not done for any other reason than to get by people. He's not getting on at the moment because of Jadon Sancho, because A, he's playing well. They're at the top of the league. He got injured. Sancho come in, does really well. Well, you don't get your place back.
Yeah.
It's not more complicated than that. He is a good player. There is one other thing, if you're going to be slightly cynical about it. He is American. That's the market that Chelsea are very interested in, and I don't mean players. I mean the marketplace they'd like to get to. The World Cup's coming up in the US as well, just when Pulisic will be at his very, very best. So, you know, sometimes players are bought not just for what they can add on the pitch, but what they can add off it as well. It seems like a lot of money for me for that player. I would agree. If it was 30 or 35, I think a lot of people would have nodded sagely. But, you know, getting up to what, 58 million, that's a hell of a lot of money for him. As for Hudson-Odoi, I've been to watch almost all the games he's played in this season. He's played in all the Europa League games. And I'm really impressed. You almost smile when you talk about him. He does a couple of things, right? He's got the skills, as Kevin said. Given. Pace. Given. I want to know about the other things. I want to know about match intelligence. You know, the real things that put you on the different plane. He was playing in the first game I watched him play, and he was just too narrow. He wasn't getting the ball in the right position because it was too narrow. He was 15 yards too near in when the ball was on the right-hand side and he was out left. And I was saying in the commentary, you've got to move out there, mate. Somebody's got to tell him to move. I hadn't got the sentence out. He was walking towards the byline. He was standing right on it, thinking, this is how I get the ball. And I'm thinking, yeah, you've got something. The intelligence to know what to do at that age. Match intelligence isn't something, I don't know if you learn it that well. I think you either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
Got it. And he definitely has. And so everything on top of it, he's good enough.
So are they considering the Bayern Munich offer, or have they shot that down? Or where are we?
40 million is a lot. You know, if it goes up to that, I don't think they'll take the 20 for him, but the 40 is an awful lot. There are weaknesses to his game.
Okay. Still.
And whether he'll go over those weaknesses. He would come on against Watford. I was at that game, Chelsea-Watford, or Watford-Chelsea, in boxing, St. Stephen's Day, sorry. Forgetting where I am.
Yeah.
And he came on, and he was basically bullied off the ball by the entire time by the defenders at Watford. You know, this is the big boys now. It's a wee bit different here. And, you know, it takes a wee bit of learning that. And I was a wee bit disappointed that he didn't do better against Watford. And he went off with an alleged injury, a hamstring injury. But there's still things to learn. There's still things to do. He's not the finished package. But, you know, 40 million, what does that get you these days?
Yeah, exactly. It is just striking that they'll spend all this money on Pulisic and maybe not try and develop Hudson-Odoi. Maybe it just ties in with that wider sense that for all these brilliant FA Youth Cup teams, I think they've won, 5 in a row. Loftus-Cheek is about the only player who's really emerged.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've not really seen many coming through that I've thought were good enough.
Okay, really?
You know, they win and they win and they win.
Yeah.
It's a big difference from going and being good enough to go and play with a team that's full of, you know, World Cup winners and things like that. You know, you got to be something else. You got to be absolutely off the scale. thought Tammy Abraham's probably the closest I thought he's got a chance. Other than that, Loftus-Cheek, there's more. He needs to learn more things in his game. He needs to be at the last 90 minutes, all that sort of stuff. So no absolute stick-on definites are good enough for Chelsea. Solanke was the one before that everyone's talking about. Well, what's he doing now? He's going to get another move, and he's not really made an impression. You got to come through. You got to be not good. You got to be absolutely brilliant to get through those systems, and that's Manchester City, and that's Chelsea as well.
Yeah, fair enough. As for Chelsea, Kev, it's just a nice cottage industry to have all these players that they can sell off as well.
Yeah, that's the industry. Pat will know a lot more than me. The industry is making money for them. So for all that we're talking about Chelsea, in our minds, they're not developing them, but they are, because the money that they're generating from buying in youth from around Europe and around the world, selling them on to different clubs, they have been a success. It's been a massive success for Chelsea over the last 10 years or so, and the amount of players that's come through that academy that we're seeing around, the Lukakus, the De Bruynes, they've been bought in and sold on, and that's how the system's working for them, and it is making a lot of money.
I can tell you one other thing from the system. Stephen, they get a young Scottish player come down recently, and they got him and his parents in, and they said, right, they spent a lot of money getting them in. They said, you probably won't play for the first team. You'll never get there. But we'll make you as good as you can possibly be, and you'll have a great career if you have the right attitude, if you've got all the attributes. So they don't give them nonsense, they don't BS them. They get them down and say, we will give you a fantastic education in football, and you will get as far as you possibly can get after this education in football. So the normal shouting and bawling is, oh, they don't get the opportunities, they're being held back at Chelsea. It's absolute nonsense. If you're not good enough, you go out on loan, you go to Vitesse, you go to wherever, and you learn your trade, and you go on, and you maximise the potential of what you can do. By the way, there was one other player I forgot to mention there, Ampadu. He was got from someone else, but wow, he's
Joe liked him. You liked him when you saw him play, didn't you, against us? Just one thing, you mentioned football education as well, though, Pat. Privately educated as well. That's another thing. Man City and Chelsea both do that. You get a private education. So if you're a kid that's coming in, you're going to get private education to 16, 18. As a parent, that's something as well that's going to take your child forward for the rest of their lives as well. So that's another incentive.
Yeah, no, I must say, if I was a parent and a kid was given a chance to go to City, where they would never play in the senior team, or to go to a championship club where they may get in eventually, I still think I'd lean towards City in the hope that they get the best football education and just let them know early doors, you're going to be turfed out at 18, 19, but hopefully you'll be ready. That's the business model.
It is, and well, that's the moral model. The business model is the one that Kev's talking about.
Yeah,
it makes Chelsea a fortune. They spend a lot of money on it. They've got the best facilities imaginable. They give them every opportunity. They pay them well, but in the end, they sell, and they sell very well. They make massive profits. And even a lot of the players that you talk about that were brought in and people say they were failures at Chelsea, have a look at how many of them were sold on for profits. The real shock. So you say it's an industry. Cottage industries may be doing it down a wee bit. With the money involved.
Good news for the FA Cup. 4th round, Manchester United against Arsenal.
Excellent stuff. I like that.
I'll take that. Okay.
That was important. I wanted to know, Liverpool did go out there, yes.
Yeah, we did mention that.
Sorry, Liverpool out, Wolves go through.
Yeah, Wolves 2-1. Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp, devastated.
It's not that I wanted Liverpool to go out. It's just that Liverpool, that game had to go to a result tonight with yesterday's game. Now I know which game I'm doing next Monday night. Good, I'm happy.
Right, what game are you doing?
It's Manchester City next week, isn't it? Next Monday.
Oh, is it?
So
okay.
I'll be doing that game. Okay. But it was going to be cancelled if it was a draw tonight.
Okay, very good.
See the selfishness of us pundits.
Listen, it's all we care about, really. Listen, thanks a million. I guess we'll talk when we talk. Thanks. See you.
Look forward to it.
All right, Pat. Cheers.
See everyone
Cheers.
listening.
We'll take a short break.
Off the ball on News Talk.
Feeling panicky, experiencing regular night sweats, find yourself picturing the inside of your fridge? You could be suffering FOMO, fear of missing out on milk. It can affect anyone, at any time, leading to bouts of dry breakfast cereal, tasteless tea and bitter black coffee.
Overcome FOMO with mymilkman.ie and never miss out on milk again. Sign up online and wake up to fresh Avonmore milk delivered by your local milkman. mymilkman.ie. Fresh milk is just a click away.
FOMO symptoms also include checking shop closing times and mild swearing.
For when life feels a little squeezed, Ulster Bank has a wide range of low mortgage rates that could really help. For when you're moving house to get more space or switching your mortgage to get more breathing room. See what you could save. Search Ulster Bank Switch or Move. Ulster Bank. help for what matters. Warning, if you do not keep up repayments, you may lose your home. Warning, if you do not meet the repayments on your loan, your account will go into arrears. This may affect your credit rating, which may limit your ability to access credit in the future. Maximum loan to value is 90%. Security and insurance required. Product fees may apply. Over 18s and residential mortgages only. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. Credit facilities subject to repayment capacity and financial status. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
How do you make a holiday Travel Republic perfect? With a gentle stroll along a golden sandy beach,
where the prettiest mermaids live.
However you imagine your perfect holiday, create it with the Travel Republic sale. Choose from your favourite holiday destinations, from Mallorca to Mexico, Turkey to Tenerife. Book at travelrepublic.co.uk with a low holiday deposit from £49 per person. Your perfect holiday is yours for the making. Adult protected. Terms apply. See site for details.
January. It may feel dull and dreary. It may feel like ages till payday. But at least the January sale is on at appliancesdelivered.ie. And if it's bargains you're after, it's bargains you'll get. With up to 15% off TVs, 25% off washing machines, 25% off refrigeration, and up to 30% off dishwashers. Make January great again, at least for a few hours. And check out our health and wellness range. The January sale, now on at appliancesdelivered.ie.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back. So Liverpool out. Liverpool out of the FA Cup this evening, beaten by Wolves. Manchester City will play Burnley. Arsenal play Manchester United in the fourth round. We have Wolves playing Shrewsbury or Stoke. Swansea against Gillingham. Middlesbrough against Newport. They're just some of the
I think Palace at home to Tottenham, I think was the last one that I saw.
A few people, by the way, understood the point I was making about when you hit a shot, that you struggle to see how fast the ball is travelling. It's because you've no perception of depth or speed.
It must be the amateur in you, Joel. It
must be.
Yeah.
You see, the reason I was asking you lot was because you have that rare luxury of striking a ball, watching it go towards a corner.
Yeah.
But then, crucially, getting to watch it back on TV afterwards and go, oh, yeah, I thought it went that fast.
Honestly, I genuinely no. I've not thought that. I was getting with what Pat was saying. Sometimes you know yourself when you hit it and it's just so sweet. It's just so sweet. You've not tried to put any power in it yet.
It's different.
Flies off your
different point. It's a different point, Charlie. I have to wrap up. I have to go.
Well, no. In answer to your point, no. I've never looked back on the TV and watched and thought, that was a good strike.
As in, it was going faster than you thought at the time.
No, I've never thought
that. It was always about the speed you thought it was.
Yeah, I would pretty much think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know. Earlier tonight, we asked you to identify our mystery voice.
Jesus, this is dire.
It's Keith Andrews talking about our radio this
Yeah, that's it, exactly, yeah.
Congratulations, Martin Kelly. You've won entry for yourself and a friend in a Quest Adventure race of your choice. And this is a brilliant prize this evening. You're also in the draw to win the weekend in Kenmare. So go to questadventureseries.com for more. OTBAM is back tomorrow at 7:45. We're back at 7, where we hopefully will have Padraig Harrington set to be named Ryder Cup captain on the show. Richie is up next. Good luck.